What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to continue just a conversation on mental diets and hopefully add something positive to your mental diet for today. I got a couple things to talk about, one of which is continuing the flow on acceptance and accepting the day as it unfolds. But, not having this like hopeless attitude as the day unfolds, like, oh, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and just like expecting drama and chaos. But instead, looking at how your day is unfolding and how the previous days have unfolded, and use that, and accepting where you're at to start building more and more joy into your day. It's important not to shame and guilt yourself if, like, oh, you got triggered and you became unconscious, and next thing you know, you're lashing out on others and you're attacking people in your mind and maybe attacking them in person through your words or actions, whatever it happens to be, but like, assess where you're at, because everything going on in your life is a reflection of consciousness, your consciousness. And so, your family, your marriage, your relationship, everything's relationships. But it's like, how is your relationship with your job, career, dreams, aspirations, all these types of things. All of these are things to start to build and start to grow, kind of like a garden. But until you look at the garden and honestly take a good, okay, well, this is where we're at. This is ground zero. You're gonna keep maybe falling in these traps of errors in thinking and just spinning time in suffering cycles that are unnecessary, and just believing limiting beliefs and assumptions that were just taught to you from childhood that you haven't re-reasoned as an adult. Does that even make sense to think these things given what you know now? And so moving forward in acceptance, is like, in my opinion at least, taking a big, okay, this is where we're at. Like a good example, I started going to like the gym recently and started to just swim laps for like an hour. I was having issues like riding a bike, especially right now in the winter time too. It's just not ideal for bike riding when it's like, I don't know, it was like 0 degrees earlier this morning, which I don't know what that is in Celsius. That is in Fahrenheit for the Western world. But it's pretty cold, and it's definitely not something you want to be just like riding a bike in. And so going to the gym, practicing laps, just back and forth in the pool. Pretty intense, for me. Really intense workout. It was like a couple times, in this past couple times going to the gym, almost feeling like gonna faint in the pool. I'm just doing laps and shit. But it's like looking at it. My wife is also going to the gym or exercising together as like a just a lifestyle thing. And so and her like point of view on it is like different than my point of view on like progress and how I want to keep tracking things. I like to weigh myself at the gym, exercise, and then the next day when I go in there, see if I can do it better than the day before. It's like not really having, just ultimately accepting, okay, I'm a beginner level. I might look stupid. I might be like not Michael Phelps in the pool, but like I can still, force myself to do laps, because I'll do like multiple, styles of swimming just to do laps. It's like I'm too tired to just do, I don't even know like the terms for like swimming things, but I'll do like a backstroke just to catch my breath, but still getting from one end to the other. It's just in different ways. And when I go back today, hopefully see that improvement. And so much of like manifesting, is like, if we're gonna get clear on like language, manifest, it's like I hear that a lot, with law of attraction, law of assumption, metaphysics and shit, and not to say there's anything wrong with that, but ultimately what we're talking about is bringing an idea into form. It's bringing a concept into reality. It's bringing your faith demonstrated. And so and that's as far as like my defining of like manifesting it, is taking that inner vision and bringing it to fruition. So in that, and it's the same process no matter what you're doing. So it's important to focus on areas where you're excelling at, that you're good at. Because what you focus your attention on starts to grow. So if you just want to start focusing on your errors, your weaknesses, your whatever, there's like maybe a season for that, because in your weaknesses you start to learn how to spiritually understand things, unpack things, and grow, I guess. So you're not sitting in your mind suffering over stories you're telling yourself from your ego. But not to sit there and battle and resist that either. It's just a thought form based on an idea that you're separate from God, and separate from people, and separate from your life, and separate from everything. And you're just like a alone brain in a body, and there's all these separate forces and wills going on. But the more that you start to realize that we're all connected, that everything is connected, it's not just random chaos going on. There is a process going on of awakening. And it comes, through multiple different ways, but and everybody's unique and experiences a unique way of waking up, I guess. But to look at where you're at, not to sit there and compare yourselves either. You're like, oh, it's like you got Jesus way up here on the pinnacle of the pyramid, and then you're down here, and it's like we're all connected, and we're all God's creation, and even Jesus, it said in the Bible he considers us friends, family, and I don't, think Jesus has an ego that needs to be stroked, that, he's the special boy, but that's just for everybody to kind of figure out for themselves. But, it's like, but moving forward, into demonstrating, our faith is ultimately kind of what we're doing. And so it's like, with swimming, for example, going to the gym, it's fulfilling a desire of wanting to get fitter, for one, get in better shape, get better cardio strength, get better activity on leg muscles and things, and so there's all these kind of desires that go along with it, and to get stuck in your mind about the final result of I'm gonna maybe have a six pack, and I'm gonna get jacked, I'm gonna get ripped going to the gym all the time, and have all these stories about it. You just kind of realize that as you're doing these things, that side effect will happen where you start to get fitter, start to get more healthy. And I don't feel like that's a judgment, of oh, you're maybe somebody's overweight, so they're unhealthy. So if I'm at this weight, then I'm healthy. It's that kind of a comparison thing. But it's more so for just my own carrying around weight. It's just if I weighed myself the other day, and it's man, to get down to this ideal, healthy body mass index, it's shit, I got a journey. But in that journey, and the destination being one thing, looking at I'm not going to feel guilt and shame for where I'm at. I'm not going to oh, if I only just did it differently, and start living in the past, remembering all the times of going to McDonald's or some fast food and getting 5 sandwiches or something. It's all of these things that have happened to bring you to this point now. You can just let those go. It's that's not who you are anymore. It's moving forward, you're kind of going to be demonstrating a new identity, a new state of consciousness, where one is, maybe, more one way, and this is the other way, if that makes sense. And so I think it's really important then to look at everything, all of these aspects of your life, and kind of do the same thing. We're not sitting there judging and condemning it, but also accepting where it is, but then growing it to be more in alignment with an inner vision of some ideal that you want to express. And to start to celebrate the little wins throughout the day, the progress. It's with playing the guitar, it's you don't just pick it up one day and the next thing you're recording studio quality sessions, that they're just coming like that. I mean, there's a progression. Even skateboarding is the same way. You don't just hop on the board and just start doing 360 kickflips off fucking 10 stairs, on your first day or two. There's a progression, there's a confidence, there's a a physical experience, as Neville Goddard would describe, a bridge of incidents to get you to that ideal state. And to go with the flow of that. I get that, sometimes, talking about acceptance can be kind of triggering. It's like, because into the old mind, accepting the situation, it means losing. It means accepting defeat. It means, you just gave up. And that's not really what we're talking about. That's a convolution of the old mind, where kind of like the new mind, looks at acceptance as, trusting that God's unfolding the scenario perfectly, that you don't got to worry about the fat cells or whatever, that you're going to disappear somehow and replace those with like strong muscle cells. You don't got to do any of that shit. You don't got to worry about how that's going to happen. You don't got to worry about your heart beating faster to oxygenate your blood more, so you can go with more. That's, you don't got to worry about that. And ultimately, you don't have to worry about, getting to the destination either. You just have to, when the opportunity presents itself, to stay present and mindful, and to try to stay in a flow state. So in swimming, there's a lot of resistance that starts to happen in the mind of like, oh, I'm drowning. I got water in my goggles. It's am I splashing water on the people doing the swim aerobics next lane over. There's all these different things that can go on. You're like, oh shit, am I having a heart attack? That kind of, oh, people laughing at me. Oh, or people staring at what I'm doing. Oh, all these kind of stories you can start to tell yourself in your mind. Fear. It's all just like fear response that's playing out in the mind. But the more that you're able to just like let those kind of things go and realize that, who you are, what you're doing, what you're desiring to do, what you're trying to, bring to reality, this new situation or whatever, is on the other side of that fear. So you just keep pushing through it, let the thought come, let it go, and then just keep moving, just keep going. And start to find things that are going, I don't know what the best advice is for that. It's just like, go within and ask God to help you do it. Ask the Holy Spirit, how to, handle these different challenges, because like part of like going to the gym is like, there is like efforting and like, drama that can go on in the mind of like, oh, I'm just, don't want to keep pushing myself. But then there's also like the satisfaction of once you push through that, and you've done it. It's like you feel more filled with energy, more filled with like vitality, and there's definitely a positive to it, But again, that's almost what's kind of confusing for me. Then is like, well, there's like that give and take kind of thing. It takes efforting and force and everything else. And you have to go through all this mental bullshit as you're doing this for an hour or so. But then when you're done, and then you feel like satisfaction for pushing through something that's difficult, and there's like this reward from persevering. But it's never the same experience. It's always different. Like today or tomorrow when I go back to that, for example. It'll be a different experience. You'll see the gains. You'll see like it's like, oh man, I've been going like back and forth, and I don't feel like I'm having a heart attack or dying or doing something like that's going to make me puke in the pool, that kind of stuff. And so like start looking at those little gains and start doing that more and more so with everything going on in your life. It's like once you've radically accepted responsibility for your life, accepting that it's a reflection of consciousness, and the things that are going right, have their root in consciousness, just as the things going wrong in your life have their root in consciousness too. Start focusing your attention on, the gains, what's going better today than it did yesterday. Did you, maybe spend 99% of your day neutral or just like blah, when you could have experienced it feeling states of joy, peace, happiness, laughter? Was most of your day serious? was it just drama and seriousness and, grievances and attacks and bullshit for most of your day? Did you have like maybe an hour you could unwind, but most of your day was just filled with drama and bullshit? Well, accept that that's what it is for now, but, realize that your faith in this new direction is going to start to demonstrate a new reality for you that you're going to walk into. And by the time you get to the end of it, you'll go through all these bridges of incidents, and it'll feel natural and normal, that you're in this new state. Everything will kind of have aligned and worked out, and you'll feel like it's just normal that I'm doing these things. It's just like, having like a business. There's like a time, like, where it's like you have so many doubts, and like, oh well, what if I don't make any money? What if I lose everything? What if people think I'm a failure? All of this shit you can start telling yourself. But by the time you like have a business that's like that's actually like functioning the way a business should function, I guess, and having help, and you have people going on, that whole transition, from point A to point B, it's just more shit to move around, more shit to do. But, it's just like, it just feels normal that these things are going on. It's like with music. It's like there was like a time I was like really obsessed with like plays. Like, oh, how many people have listened to like something I've like made or created. And I was like obsessed with that, kind of like earlier on in like my music progression. And then it's like, oh, if I could just hit a million, that'd be so fucking cool. I'd feel like I made it. I feel like I made it. And then I was like, using this place to license music called like License, and even on there, just on that platform, I had it integrated with my website, and it's like, I can't remember if I had 2 million. I don't remember, but it was like it hit that threshold just on that one platform. And even now, it's like I think one of the most views I've seen on a video that's using some of my music is like 2.5 million on YouTube. It's like some nails, like fingernail video. It's like showing you how to do this technique, I guess. But like but even with that kind of stuff, it didn't create this you made it feeling, even when you hit the milestones. But you can start to see how those gains start to happen. So it's like, as you start to be thankful for the gains, and you start to be thankful for the progress, then you're focused then on something that, as your attention's on it, is going to start to grow, and that is going to align more to what you're actually desiring. Where if you're focusing on your problems, and you're focusing on the achy pains, or this isn't working right, or I'm not getting any views, or I'm not getting any subscribers, and you're just focusing on that, you're not seeing how much better you are today versus where you were 3 months ago. It's all part of this, because by the time you do get whatever this inner vision is, by the time you already get there, you'll be like mentally, your mind will be like, I wouldn't say expanded, but it's like by the time it manifests, it's like there's no resistance. And so it's not a big deal. The biggest thing that pushes like the manifestations away is your resistance towards them. You push it away with your own self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs, assumptions. Ultimately, if you don't have it connected with God in consciousness as a big, I'm going to push that away. If you like, abundance is a good example of that. If you don't realize God is the source for your abundance, and that is within you, it's like you are basically give yourself the salary you get every year. Anything more than that, you'll start having this resistance towards it, and you'll push it away. You'll push opportunities away. That's all of these different excuses, conscious. A lot of it's unconsciously, but the more you become consciously aware that you're doing that, the more you can kind of stop doing that and start focusing on the good, and start growing that instead, and then demonstrating it, because we're always demonstrating our state of consciousness, consciously and unconsciously. It doesn't matter. You can demonstrate scarcity and suffering just as much as you can demonstrate abundance and joy. It really is that you decide that. You get to make that choice. most of unfortunately most time you're unconsciously making that choice because you're not aware of how powerful your inner beliefs, your assumptions, your ultimately your beliefs about your identity um, is what the gets mirrored out to reality and to all these different areas, and so it's one thing to have like a clear imaginal act or desire, but ultimately realize that it's God that desires these things through you. And it takes a big bunch of resistance away when you stop thinking in terms of just this alone you. When you're actually who you are is connected with God, and so when you start getting these different desires, a lot of times you can maybe have resistance towards them because you feel like it's selfish or maybe against God's will or something. But the more that you realize what you do desire is love, and seeing love expressed in form and realizing that that is connected with God's desire as well, you can start taking a lot of that resistance and giving it to God to just let go of. It's like, oh, it wasn't even me that's really desiring that. It's God's desiring that through me to kind of experience this thing as a team, as a we kind of thing, as a relationship, because everything is relationship. And once you realize everything is relationship and everything is actually one thing, it's all consciousness expressed. It's all part of it's all God, on some level. It's the seen and the unseen. It's the mirror. It's all of ways to talk about it. But it's another when you see it, which you can see it right now. The more that you become still and are able to be present and be able to be in like the observer kind of position. It's all words, but as you kind of do it for yourself, you understand through the doing. But yeah, that's basically what I want to bring to you guys is awareness today, demonstrating your faith, progressing, acknowledging the gains, even if they're small. It's like, say you're trying to like lose weight or something. It's like, oh, I've only lost half a pound. It's like, be thankful for that. I mean, it's better than yesterday. It's better than the day before. You're moving in a direction that is matching frequencies with this ideal, imaginal kind of state. Start celebrating those things, and as you do that, and as you put your attention on like the wins and the success and the oh, it's happening. It's did better today than yesterday. If you're stretching, it's like, oh, I can touch my toe today. I wasn't able to do that, and then before you know it, you'll be able to touch your whole bottom of your heel. It's like, as part of how things manifest, is the gains. Part of like, I feel like as a stumbling block is like in myself is wanting like the instant manifestation. It's like, oh, there's like the thought, and then it's like, I just want, boom, 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 boom. You just want the shit to happen fast, because it does happen fast when you have no resistance towards things. You can have thoughts, and the next thing you know, you're seeing them expressed in your perception very fast. Almost as fast as walking in front of a mirror if you're really mindful. But like sometimes that can be then you expect that out of everything. Not to say it can't happen. All things are possible for God to do. And so not to put a limiting belief out there, but just from you have to kind of work through your belief cell. So it's like, if you believe you have to work out a whole bunch to lose weight, your faith will be, that's what you have to deal with. And so in that, it's like you can start to kind of evolve those beliefs through the doing, which is another part of like the demonstration. Is like making the choice to move in the new directions, and then jump and actually doing it. It's like it's one thing to think about it and keep thinking about it. It's another to go for it. And there's different. Some things are easier to go for than others. But the big things, the unknown, a lot of times can be pretty intense when you go for it. But I encourage you to go for it, to pursue your dreams, to actually get out of your mind about your dreams, and to physically inform, start to live that life that you desire to live, and that you can. It's the only limitation is you and your resistance towards things. But we're all working through this thing together. And so, with that being said, I think we're balanced. I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social networking things. I also appreciate your spiritual support and your financial support. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And until the next now, God bless.